Welcome back to the studio. Today we're going to be showing you how we built this rustic dining table riser using the Brunswick Bunfeet from Osborne, as well as some locally sourced pine lumber. This is a really simple project to add some detail to your dining table and complement that overall farmhouse look in your home. Stay tuned for some tips and tricks and we'll be right back. Okay, so to get started, we're going to go ahead and cut all of our lumber to size and get ready to assemble. Now, we picked up this lumber from our local hardware store. This is just some regular pine 1x4s. It's actually about 3.5 inches wide. So these 1x4s are what we're going to use to plank the top and the bottom of our table riser. Now, we just need to measure out and mark right at 32 for 4 boards that are going to make our plank top and bottom. For our side and end boards, we're using these 1x3 that we also picked up. These are once again just pine. So for the sides of our riser, we're going to need 2 of these 1x3s cut at 32 inches as well. Now for the ends, since they're going to be set inside of our sideboards, we're going to go ahead and cut those to 6 since the thickness of our material is 3/4 of an inch. That way that gives us to our overall dimension width for our riser at 7.5. Okay, so now that we have all of our lumber cut out, we can go ahead and start assembling our table riser. Now we're using the Brunswick round bunfoot from Osborne. This is part 4095. We've got these in pine. We also have a number of other species available on our website. You can check that out in the link below if you're interested. We have a few different sizes and profiles available of these as well. So I'm gonna set these Bunfeet to the side for now, and then we'll come back to them when we're ready to install. All right, so I've laid my planks out with roughly the amount of spacing that I think we're gonna have. Overall, this is gonna be 7.5 inches wide, so the gap in the middle may change slightly. So we're gonna go ahead and screw these 2 boards together with our bottom planks, and then our end caps will connect this whole assembly. And I'm just using this clamp to help with assembly, just to make sure I can get my first 2 screws in easily. As always, we're gonna make sure that we pre-drill our boards. Now, since this is the bottom of our riser, we're not gonna worry about using plugs on this one, but when we assemble our top boards, we are gonna use our plug cutting bit as well as a pre-drill bit for plugs. That way we can hide those screws, but we're not gonna worry about hiding the screws for the bottom since you won't see them on the table. All right, so we have our 2 halves built. Now we just need to install our end caps. These are gonna sit right in that section that's open. Now I'm gonna clamp my end caps on both ends so I can flip this whole assembly, and it's gonna help me to be able to get that screw in the bottom. All right, so we've got the bottom half of our riser assembled. Before we go ahead and finish everything, we're gonna install our Bunfeet. Now what I'm gonna do is center these in the middle of these 2 planks here. Now what I can do to make it a little easier, these Bunfeet still have the mark from the lathe. That'll show you the dead center of that Bunfoot. What I can do is measure half of that, and that will allow me to center it up on my mark. That way I don't have to guess on where the placement of the center of that Bunfoot is. I can go ahead and mark it, pre-drill a hole right there on my exact mark, and then install a screw in. We are just going to install a screw from the bottom. You're not going to see them by the time you get those top 2 boards on. Now for my Bunfeet, I'm using just a little bit longer of a screw, just to make sure we're getting down in that Bunfoot far enough and getting a good hold. Now we have the main portion of our riser done. We've got our end caps on as well as our side pieces and our bottom planks. We've also installed our Bunfeet. So now we're gonna go ahead and finish this assembly as well as our 2 top planks, just so we're able to get full coverage in the interior. So now that all of our pieces are sanded and stained, we're ready to go ahead and install the top planks on our riser. Now, since we don't want our screws to show on the top of our riser, what we're gonna do is mark out the exact locations where we want to put our screws. We're gonna pre-drill with a 2-step bit. Now this bit is gonna allow us to create 1 small hole that our screw is gonna go all the way through, and then 1 bigger hole that we're gonna be able to set our plug in without going all the way through our board. Okay, so I've just loosely placed my boards on top of my riser so that I can take some measurements and get some exact locations for our screws. Now I'm gonna take my 2-step drill bit. Now this bit, as I said, is smaller. in the beginning step, so that's going to go all the way through my board. And then with this chuck here, I can adjust the depth, and this is going to create a bigger hole that our plug is going to fit into, but without going all the way through that board. So let's drill these out, and then we'll take a piece of our scrap wood over and cut some plugs to try to grain match. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of get an idea of the sections that I want to cut out just by matching them up. And then we're going to jump over to our drill press and we'll drill these out and then get them plugged in with some wood glue. All right, so we have our plugs cut out here. What we're going to do first is install our screws. All right, so now for our plugs, just gonna put a little bit of glue in each hole. Doesn't take a lot. Once you get your plugs in, you can just tap those down. Now, once your plugs are installed, there are a number of ways that you can flush them up with the top of your surface, but you could use a small little handsaw or even a flush trim router bit. Since we've already finished the top, we're gonna go ahead and just sand it, and then we'll touch it up in the areas that needs to with the finish that matches. That's going to wrap it up for our really simple rustic dining table riser. This is a really easy project if you're looking to add some extra detail to your dining table and really complements the farmhouse look well. If you're interested in the Brunswick round Bunfeet or any of our Bunfeet collection, I'll leave a link below. You can go check that out for your next project, as well as some more information on dimensional lumber from Osborne. As always, be sure to like, subscribe, and leave us a comment if you have any ideas for future videos, and we'll see you next time in the Builder Studio.